Hi, me again. Yeah, maybe you've been playing a game yourself, and hopefully you've not been sacked yet, and hopefully some of the things I've helped you with. Fingers crossed. If not, yeah, don't shoot the messenger. So yeah, this video is just a little bit of a tutorial on the player menus and just a bit, like I say, a few little tips and the headings, etc. So hopefully this is a bit useful for you. Okay, thank you. Right, so I'm going to look at now the squads and the player screens, which obviously it's one of those things you're going to be looking at a lot. So first things first, I'll just bring your attention to this bit. So here's the squad screen, which is obviously all your team. So first thing, if you look at this selection info, this basically, it's how you want this screen to look. So this is just general selection info of who's in the team. So for example, you can look at general info. It'll tell you just a snapshot of various things. Okay, age, value, transfer value. It might be you want to look at contracts, and you could always filter it down. So for example, if you look here, the wages, oh no, actually we'll look at the expiring one, for example. So if I click on expires, it'll then tell me who's expiring next year. So these are the ones that maybe I've got to be more wary of, to look at the contracts, etc. So obviously it tells you the value and things. Also, what else do maybe I look at quite a lot? Selection info, dynamics, reports is kind of good because reports gives you an idea of how they're rated, which you've kind of looked at before, but who's not so great, or who's your best players, etc. So that can be quite useful. And then, as again, just things like stands to reason, injuries, fitness, etc. A lot of this, I think, when you get to the squad screen, it's what I've mentioned before, that you start getting into the realms of all the stats stuff and just information that you might find useful. You might, use it to help your game, like facts and assistant reports and all of this stuff. Squad depth is a relatively new thing with Football Manager, which it can be useful because it can just tell you which areas of your team you don't have a lot of depth in. I think obviously I've chosen a team like Liverpool, so the squad depth is pretty good, but obviously some areas are better than others. Like I think obviously strikers is pretty damn good, whereas I'm struggling to find an area that is not so good. But again, like I say, this is some way you can look just to see what the squad depth is like. So anyway, so let's start. So the individual players. Who shall I choose? Let me see. Let me think of a good one. Right. Well, look, I'll just look at Virgil. Just another thing. On every player, you're going to have this kind of thing. So there's a lot of hovering. There's many things like names. You can click on players' names. You can click on Premier Division. You can click on names of clubs, etc. A lot of hovering too. So I could hover over injury. It'll tell me what his injury status. It'll tell me again he's settled. All sorts of things. This Minamino is listed for transfer. So you can, for example, I can click on Minamino's listed, and it'll take me straight to that area, take me to the details of that. If I look at Virgil, so first page is obviously just a summary of everything about Virgil, about where his skills lie. You could look on here, it'll tell me that yes, that's where his best position is. If I click on here, he can do it, but not as well. And obviously a summary of all the other things about Virgil. about his rating, about his individual attributes, happiness, and so on and so forth. Contract info, you'll be looking at this kind of thing quite a lot. Just tells you about if there's any clauses, for example, which we can look at later. But if, say, Virgil's got a clause that somebody can buy him for 80 million, you have to accept it, that'll all be in here. So contract, if you want to release somebody on a free, don't think I'll be doing that with Virgil, but if you want to release somebody off a new contract, things like that, which we don't want to be doing that just as this yet. So that was just telling us kind of how you do that. Just go back into Virgil. Transfer status, again, over here, if I want to decide to change to transfer list him or put somebody on loan, this is where we would do that. Offer to clubs, kind of same thing. If I wanted to offer somebody to clubs, this is for transfers or loans. So if I have a player want to offer him for loan, you can do it this way. Now, if you do want to offer somebody for loan, a couple of things to mention really is that you can, if you want to, for example, if I want to offer him to loan and I want to say playing time. So I want to make sure that he goes to another club. I want him to make sure he's going to play, not just as a fringe player. So I go regular starter. And if this is something I definitely must have happen, I can do that and click on here. And that basically means it's non-negotiable. If you want to loan my player, you've got to give him that. Yeah, that's... also, you can change, if you want to get money for it, if you want to get a percentage of the salary, that's all over here. Okay. Transfer offer. Another thing that if I'm putting somebody out for a transfer, this is just a little tip that I've found, is that if you put a transfer offer out and they then come back with an offer, they'll end up changing things. So in order to, for example, I don't want to maybe offer too much. I can go, right, I'll give you this, I'll give you a percentage of future transfer, only 5%, which I can cope with, and then it's non-negotiable. Rather than somebody else making the decision about that and saying, oh, we want 20%, we want 40%, I'll say, no, I'll give you 5%, but that's it. Just a little tip there, really. Go back to Virgil. So that's transfer, development. Development, again, here if you've got a player that I don't know, maybe you want to give them a bit of playing time, you can move them to the under-23 squad, or the opposite. If you've got a young player that is ready for the first team, it would say on here, move to senior squad, and this is where you would do that. And obviously looking at things like tactics, etc. Reports, again, I think I've showed earlier, you can look at the coach report, what the coach thinks of this player, stats, form, etc. Discuss if you ever want to basically have a chat with your player, praise him, warn him for doing something wrong, or criticize anything that he's not been doing. This is where you would do that. Comparison, again, comparison to other players. And then history, which is something you're going to use a lot, because if you ever want to look at a player that you want to buy, for example, you'll be looking on here to see who they've played for, how they've done. What it would tend to be on here, it would give their average rating as well, in past seasons, if you want to buy a player. And then just a bit more of history of again, the biography or what they've achieved, etc. I think, let's have a look if there's any. I'll have a look at any other player that might have something a bit more interesting. Let's have a look. No, I think that's it really. So again, as I'd always say with these videos, I might have missed something. Hopefully I haven't, something that's important, but this is the game. You know, the beauty of Football Manager is you've got plenty of time. Nothing's happening if you spend 10 minutes doing something. You can just have a look and just find things out that you might find useful, or you use a lot that I don't particularly do. But hopefully, as I always say, hopefully I might have helped you look at a couple of important things. Right, that one was the individual player menus. So hopefully you found it useful. As ever, hope you found some little tips there will help you in the future. So the next video is going to be all about transfers and contracts. So hopefully that's the fun one. We all want to find that 40 goal a season striker that we buy for peanuts. So yeah, so I hope you can keep watching and find that one as useful as ever. So thanks once again, guys. See you later.